sailboat in the moonlight and June. Wouldn't that be heaven? Oh, heaven just for two. A soft breeze on a June night and June. What a perfect setting for letting dreams come true.
We've got a real treat today. These folks, I mean, this is where it all began, really. So anybody who's on YouTube right now, I think you have Paul and Sheryl Shard to thank. Paul and Sheryl, welcome to a virtual happy hour.
Thank you. Thrilled to be here.
And you folks aren't too far away from where we live. You're Ontarians as well.
That's right. And we're back home for lockdown. We're based on the Trent Severn Waterway on Lake Simcoe. Sure. And it's a very nice community to have our home base in because everyone, of course, loves boating and the water, as I'm sure is the same for you guys in Belleville.
Belleville's kind of sailing central for Eastern Ontario. So, we're right in the middle of it here. It's wonderful. Yeah,
it is a lovely area.
So your boat is not, your boat, by the way, is Distant Shores is the name of the boat. And it is not where you are now. You've got it in the south, right?
Yeah, it's actually in Panama. Just before the health crisis, we took the boat from the Bahamas to Panama and through the Panama Canal into the Pacific. It was something that we dreamed of doing for many years. We've been cruising now for over 30 years, and most of our time has been spent in the Bahamas, Caribbean, the Mediterranean, Northern Europe. Yeah. We've done 9 transatlantic crossings now, and we thought, it's time to see the Pacific. So we just got into the Pacific when everything closed down.
Wow.
Yeah, we're on pause now.
She's on the hard then?
No, unfortunately not. We it all fell apart for us, really. We had a plan for the Pacific. We had flown out of the country to England for a week, and then they locked down Panama, so we couldn't go back. So she's actually in the water. It's unfortunate.
Yes, sure. But it's in the marina. We left it with double lines and left it well set up, and it's in a marina where there are other cruising sailors, so they've been keeping an eye on the boat for us, and it's great with the technology. We can WhatsApp call and reach each other through the Panama Cruisers Facebook group, and there's just so many ways we can be in touch with people now. So we're blessed. I mean, we're also lucky to be part of the cruising community because it's such a brotherhood, and people do look out for each other and each other's boats too. So
and it's a small community, isn't it? We found that everybody's connected. We were speaking to another couple, and actually they had ran into our daughter in, was it Luperon?
Yeah.
In Luperon. So when we mentioned we had a daughter there, they said, "Oh my gosh, is that Hannah?" And we said, "Yes." And it was so surprising, but the community is quite small. And when you're on the water.
We have discovered like the 6 points of separation between most of our guests, and there is a connection between us as well.
Yes, there is.
Oh.
Yes. Oh. And 30 years ago, you built a boat called Two Step.
Yes. Classic 37, yeah.
Classic 37. And the guy building beside you was Ted Foster.
Yes.
And Ted and Joan are good friends of ours from Belleville here.
2 degrees of separation then, isn't it?
That's 2 degrees of separation. Yes. And when we first started sailing, Debbie and I put our boat in the water, and I think within an hour or two, Ted introduced himself to us, and he said, "I'm going out sailing. Do you want to come?" So the first trip out of our marina was in a Classic 37, the sister ship to Two Step.
Yeah. Yes. And Ted is such a great guy. He was a member of the Ontario Boat Builders Cooperative with us, and we were building the boat, and Ted he had started ahead of us and was very generous to let us come and see the work he'd done on his boat, which helped us get ideas and inspiration.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad that you're in touch with them. But you have a connection with the Albergs too, I understand, because the Classic 37 is a Carl Alberg design, and is almost identical to the Alberg 37. And I was listening to one of your conversations. You know someone who got involved with the design of the Alberg 30, was that right?
The Alberg 30, yeah.
Alan.
Yeah, I'd done an article for Good Old Boat about, it was a biography of Alan Nye Scott. Okay. And Alan, he built the 30, the 29, the 22, and there's a 32, I think it is. So, yeah. That was a connection.
Right.
It's a bit more involved than that, but.
Actually, well, we had a lot of fun with our Classic 37. Her name was Two Step, and we sailed her for 18 years. And we really wanted to do a transit of the French canals, but Two Step drew 6 feet, and that was going to mean that we'd have to do the bigger, more commercial canals. So we felt, well, after that amount of time, this definitely was a lifestyle for us, and we needed a more comfortable, more modern, more shallow boat. So that's how we got started with the southerly yachts. That we've had 3 southerlies now. Yeah. But the first one, Distant Shores, was a southerly 42 RST, and we got that boat with the idea of cruising the French canals because it's got a swing keel and can go very shallow, and it's great in the Bahamas. So we're now in our 3rd southerly yacht, a southerly 480, and same thing, it's got a swing keel, retractable keel, and has been great for the Bahamas. So
it only draws about less than 4 feet. So
we were a little envious when we saw you pull up on shore with your with the sister ship. It was just beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh yes.
Yeah, it's amazing. Bahamas is a special place. I wish we were there now instead of locked down here, but maybe coming up. Thinking we might even be going back to the Bahamas this coming winter, I think.
Yeah, I think if things are locked down through the summer, we'll have lost our season, and then we get into cyclone season and hurricane season.
For the Pacific, we would basically change from trying to go to the Pacific, since that's closed and out of bounds. So I think we might be revisiting the Bahamas again.
Yeah.
Did you bring her through or rent another boat?
No, our hope is that we'll be able to get back to the boat sometime this summer, and then we'll just take it back out through the canal to the Caribbean. Sure. And for hurricane season, we'll be able to stay around the San Blas Islands and so on, because it's south of 10 degrees north for insurance. And then head up to the Bahamas.
After 30 years of sailing to exotic ports around the world, documenting our adventures for television, the Bahamas, and in particular the Exuma Islands Group, remains one of our favorite places to cruise.
Part of what we do, along with our video and public speaking, is sail away weeks, where we have people on board for a week or so and do sail training or introduction to cruising weeks for people that are thinking of, maybe getting a boat or doing a bit more with the boat they already own. Yep. So, of course, right now that's not possible. But if there's quarantines involved, we're thinking, well, maybe we'll just do some longer term things so people can come and join us for a month or so. Yeah. And do some intensive work with them in a beautiful, warm place.
Yeah, I did see that you had voyages booked where people could sign up to join you at different legs on your trip through the Pacific.
Yes, yeah, and we've really enjoyed doing that. It's just so much fun to help people build their skills. And, we feel very blessed to have lived this cruising life for as long as we have, and to be able to share it with others that are thinking the same thing means a lot to us. Yeah. And so we want to continue doing that. And if we've lost the season in the Pacific, we think it's best to, rather than lose a whole year, get back cruising and then maybe head back to the Pacific, or come up with a whole new plan. That's so hard now, isn't it? We never know what's going on.
Make a plan and it lasts for 4 days until everything changes again.
That's true.
We're
Sorry.
out of our marina now. They shut all the marina. Well, you would know, of course, 'cause it's the same at your place. But they shut all the marinas down, so we're out of our marina, kind of twiddling our thumbs as well, and it's really different. When you're a sailor,
This
we should
hurts
say
Chris
this.
very deeply.
Yes, this
He's got
time
all
of year
these
is what you look
plans.
forward to all year long. Getting your boat in the
Exactly.
water and getting going, and to miss that's a huge hole, really.
Oh my gosh. Well,
Yeah.
I think, all Canadians are really going to be upset about losing summer activities, because it is the time of year that we all look forward to, but especially sailors and boaters. And I think they're realizing that, it is a great way to physically distance by being on your boat and away from others, and you're healthy out in the fresh air. I don't know about your area, but we've been given a date of May 12th.
Yep.
When
Was ours the
possibly-
12th or the 15th?
Yeah, I think ours is the marina's going to open the 18th, I think.
Oh.
But
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'd heard the 12th run around as well.
Sorry. I had asked Chris because I told Chris I wanted to ask you if you both were teachers. Now, then he said that he knew that you were not teachers, but your videos are so educational. They're just wonderful. I love them for just the education. Yeah.
We like trying to figure out how to do that as well as we can in the videos. I try to add graphics in and put production values in by making animations and showing how things work.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you give the history of where you are and just interesting tidbits and stuff like that. It's lovely, and it's just so educational. You really do kind of feel that you're there.
Oh, well, thank you very much. That's what we really hoped, that we would, in our programs, make people feel like they were coming along with us. So we really try to talk to the camera a lot and make people feel included. Our background is television production, documentary, travel, filmmaking. So it just
shows.
Were you doing that before you built Two Step?
Yes, we just were building that. My background is in theater and broadcast journalism. So, and Paul's is IT.
Yeah, so I didn't have a theater background beforehand, but your theater background stood us in good stead.
Boy, that was meant to be. What a great combination for what you're doing. It's perfect.
Yeah. Well,
yeah, it's turned into that, hasn't it? Because all of filmmaking now is all on the computer. But it wasn't.
Right.
We were filming on tape and then doing tape-to-tape edits in the old days for our first TV programs.
The first time we saw your video was, I think it was probably the first year we bought our sailboat about 20 years ago. And we were at Ted and Joan Foster's house for a marina party, and we were all sitting in the basement. And I think it wouldn't have been VHS, was it?
Oh yeah, we started in video.
Yeah, I think it was a DVD. I think it was a DVD.
Okay.
20 years ago, I think we were on television, so you could have watched it on TV in Canada.
Mm-hmm.
It was a tape. I remember Ted had the whole set. And
well, if he had a set, it would be DVDs.
Yeah, DVDs.
Okay. And so he introduced us to you, and I think that a lot of us sat downstairs in the rec room and watched a video.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was a long time ago.
Now, we have a similar boat, not quite the same, but we have a Bristol 41-1, which is a centerboard boat, variable draft kind of a setup.
Yeah.
Nice.
We've sailed on Ted's boat, so we know how Two Step would have felt. They're very different boats. I mean, extremely.
Yeah, with the rudder hung on the back of the keel on the Classic. I don't think that's the way on yours, is it? Is a separate skeg behind?
Yeah, ours has got that kind of brewer bite out of the back. It's head hood design, but it's got that.
Yeah, that makes it very much more maneuverable, I think.
Oh yeah.
And for instance, you could back it up a little bit, although it's difficult, but the Classic was almost unbackable.
Drying out gives us a chance to check the boat below the waterline.
You don't normally get as much of the stern under the water. Rudders are all fine. So we go.
So So that's a big change now. Walk us through sort of the process of going with a southerly. Where did you discover them?
Well, I guess we'd sailed into the Mediterranean, and I was looking at planning the different places we could go, and I saw a boat sitting over in the yard that was sitting right down on its belly instead of as if the keel had fallen off.
Yeah.
And so I got into talk to the owner and was asking them how the boat worked, and realized that swinging the keel up and down was a reasonable option for some boats. And then we looked into those a little further.
And southerly yachts had been built for 35 years at that point. So we felt the concept of the swing keel was not, a brand new idea. It had been tried and tested. There was a great owners association, and it seemed to meet all our criteria of allowing us to explore shallow places and inland waterways. Yet it's a deep draft boat as well, and great on open ocean, and we love passage making and ocean crossings as well.
Yeah, well, the whole problem with I think with any sailboat is you can get a great performing sailboat with a deep keel.
Yeah,
but you're so limited when you get to so many parts of the world, like the eastern coast of the U.S., the Bahamas. There's a lot of places where
Wadden and the Netherlands.
A lot of places where you can't afford to have a big keel unless you're just going to race and put it away in a special marina. So there's always a trade-off in the design between the designer wants to make the keel deeper and the cruisers want to be able to get into other places. So
what's the draft of the southerly without the keel down? I think it's 10.3 with it down.
Yeah,
right?
that's our current boat. Yeah, it's 10.3, and then it's about 3'6" with the keel up.
Wow.
So it's a very deep keel that when it swings down, it's way down.
Yeah.
You'd be able to get up with the catamarans close to shore.
The thing is, you can actually get closer to shore than most cats because a lot of them have a stubby keel, so they actually draw about 4 feet.
Okay.
The real thing is that they can't afford to run aground.
That's right.
They don't want to sit on their keels, and also they don't want to sort of explore. So we don't use it so much for sitting on the beach as we do for exploring in shallow places.
Back bays and stuff.
Like with yours, if you leave it down a little bit, like ours is heavy, so if the keel's down and we're drawing 4.5 feet or 5 feet, then we run onto the sand, then the boat stops. And then we go like, oops, we're a bit shallow. So you push the button, raise the keel, move off, and go again. So we've explored many times and not run aground, not got stuck, even though we've run aground.
Right. So it really relieves the stress from exploring waters that we're always new to, because with a little bit of the keel down, we always have that safety of being able to raise it and back off. And I'm sure, as you find with your boat too, you can get into shallower places and crowded anchorages, so you always have
I have to say, Sheryl, that we only brought our boat from the Chesapeake and directly home, and we almost didn't sail it after we got back again. So we've had very little time with it, but I think we went aground more with the variable draft than we did because we were taking chances we never ever would have taken,
Yeah,
well, that's true too. Yeah.
So
like having a 4-wheel drive vehicle, you can get stuck so far away no one can come.
That's right. Yeah, I never got my sedan stuck in a river.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But it is really fun, and because you can have the keel at any height, it adds another variation to sailing performance too. So if we're sailing downwind, we can raise the keel just like a dinghy. And anyway, they're fun boats. So we've had a southerly 42, 49, and now the new southerly 480, which is built by Discovery Yachts instead of North Shore Yachts, our previous southerlies.
We had such a great visit with the Shards. Be sure and join us for part 2 of this virtual happy hour, when Paul and Sheryl share some of their ideas for a new boat and talk about being creators on YouTube. Be sure and hit that subscribe button and click the notification bell so you don't miss another episode of Wind Over Water.